Be right back to level this out. Welcome back to Elster's Rifles and Reloading, Part 2 of my Ruger Precision Rifle adventure. Now, in an effort to do some follow-up questions from Part 1, the Cappy asked, what was the final torque on the handguard bolts? Just got a 6.5 at $900 first gen. Well, Cappy, let me try my best to answer your question, and anyone else that might have the same question.
We're going to feel the rail want to pick up against our thumb, and we're going to continue applying gentle pressure as we tighten this down. Now, as I start to feel the front one get snug, I'm just going to move to the back. Start tightening the back one. I'm still applying pressure. All right, now I feel this one get snug. I'm going to keep applying that pressure here, and I'm just going to go through and snug these down. Now, a lot of people ask us about the torque spec for the Evolution rail. There isn't a torque spec for it. The reason is because the aluminum is soft enough and designed to bend around the thermal bushings and around the barrel nut. What we're actually going for is getting the two clamp ears at the bottom of the rail to touch each other. Once you've done that, you've applied enough circumferential pressure to keep this rail from sliding forward, and you've not over tightened. Once you've done those two tightening screws, the last step in the process is to go ahead and tighten down the set screw on the bottom of your rail. Now, some of you guys that have Evolution rails that are a little bit older, this was an addition at the beginning of 2013. So if you find that for some reason you are having troubles, the reason we added this, 50 Beowulf, people running different calibers, custom builds, there was some reports with bipods and vertical grips, things like that, rail sliding forward. We haven't been able to reproduce them here in the shop, but just as a measure of customer service and to make everybody feel better, we put this vertical set screw at the bottom here. You just want to...
And in order to answer your question, my bolts started to move at roughly 45 inch-pounds, and that was with my wings just touching. And to give credit where credit's due, look in the description box below for a link to this very video. Now, in an effort to create a baseline to try and gauge if this factory barrel is worth keeping or not, and I hope it is, because I'd like to just keep it the way it is and not spend any more money. I bought 20 rounds of this Hornady Super Performance, and it's using a 95 grain SST bullet. Now, this was hands down the best ammunition my local Shields store had in stock for ammunition. Now, there is no way of using this as a definitive test to see if this factory barrel is a shooter or not. But I need to start somewhere before I spend well over $100 on 243 dies, a 243 OAL modified brass case, 243 bullets. Maybe close to $200 in just those items alone. And I'm sure as hell I'm not going to do that if I'm going to rebarrel this in a completely different cartridge anyways. Now, if I go to the range, and I haven't shot this rifle yet, and this ammunition can produce pretty much 1 inch or less groups, I feel pretty confident in my own reloading skills. I can cut those groups in half. with more load development. And I get to keep the 243 brass to reload, to boot. Other things I'm going to keep an eye on is walking of my groups. So like I said, by no means should I or any of you use this as a definitive test, but to spend the least amount of money to get a baseline so I know where to start, whether I'm going to keep this factory barrel or not, or get it completely rebarreled with a custom barrel, I need to start somewhere. And I'll be damned if I'm going to use a quarter to a half of this barrel's life figuring it out, especially my own money. If you want a quick and easy way to zero in your new scope, make a 3-inch circle on some paper down about 25-50 yards. Center that circle in the middle of your barrel, looking down the bore yourself with your naked eye, and zero in your scope. It won't be perfect, but it'll get you close enough at 100 yards. I'd say good enough for one shot. No crater primers, looking good so far. What is going on with that one? This last 3-shot group is actually looking pretty promising. Anyway, let's spin this back to the reloading room. Well, now that we're back in the reloading room, and we took those 20 shots of this factory ammunition. Now, what does that mean? Well, really it doesn't mean anything other than a starting point, a baseline, to give us some direction of which route I want to go. I mean, one thing's for sure, I will not be firing this factory ammunition out of this factory barrel anymore. A lot can be said about load development, especially the bullet choice that you select. Now, it is possible I could do my own load development and play around with different types of bullets, play around with jumps, different amounts of powder drop, and it could turn this factory barrel from 1.5-inch groups to 1/2-inch groups. It is possible. On the flip side of that coin, I've had other rifles where jumping down the rabbit hole of load development to try to get that rifle to shoot can sometimes be never-ending. And you really need to know when a dog simply will not hunt. Now, firing just 20 rounds of this factory ammunition is rather inconclusive. To know for a fact that this 243 factory barrel just will not hunt for me, I really need to buy dies. I need to buy bullets. I already have the powder and the primers, but that initial investment is going to be anywhere from $100 to $200 if done correctly. And that's just something I'm going to have to kick around. So with all that said, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything good, bad, or ugly about this RPR in its current state. Maybe I was just having an off day. It is possible. But one thing's for sure is I'm not going to be firing this factory ammunition out of this factory barrel ever again. And it is very possible that the rifle just simply needs about 100 to 200 rounds for the barrel to settle down. I have seen that before. So part of me is leaning towards, hey, purchase some decent 243 dies, select a bullet that works well with this barrel's twist rate, and do a little bit of low development, say 50 to 100 rounds. And also, it'll give this barrel a chance to break in and settle down just a little bit. And worst comes to worst, if this dog will not hunt for me, I'll simply just get a 243 PVA or LRI drop-in barrel. But I would like to have your suggestions on this too, so make those comments. I'd like to hear what you gotta say. Now the brass that was ejected out of the Ruger Precision Rifle looks pretty good. There's no obvious signs of cratering, which is actually a good thing being that this is super performance horny ammunition, which in my opinion has a tendency to be loaded a little bit hot. And the accurate mag performed flawlessly. 0 jams and 0 failures to eject. Well, that concludes part 2, and keep an eye out for part 3, where I'm going to make a decision of which route I go. If I keep the factory barrel, or if I just jump in head first and get it replaced altogether with a custom drop-in barrel. Well, if you have any helpful suggestions on which direction you think I should go, make those comments below. I'd love to read them. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you next time.